Hi, I'm Chuck, KK6USY for Ham Radio Ventures. Welcome back to the channel. So, you want to go to Quartzfest, but you've never been there, you don't know what you should take to stay in. Well, stick with me, I'm going to show you my ideas. I'm not an expert, but I have done a lot of camping. Let's check it out. All right, one of the first things we're going to look at is tents. Tents is probably the most economical way to do it, but there are some things we'll talk about that you need to do if you do take a tent. Okay, probably the most economical way to go to Quartzfest is a tent. Now, I will warn you, we had some really strong winds 2 or 3 nights while I was there, and I felt really bad for the guys that were in tents. If you take a tent, there's a couple things I would say to do, and the first thing I would say is take a nice ground cloth because the ground around there is all rocks. So take something that will protect the bottom of your tent. And the next thing I would say, buy a sturdy tent, something that you can stake out and use a bunch of guy lines because I'll tell you, pretty good winds. I thought my moccasin antenna was going to be in pieces the next morning. It wasn't. Guess I did an okay job. Now, I purchased, for my overlanding stuff, I purchased one of these tents, the Gazelle. All right, this company is Gazelle. Let me pull this down so you can see the top up here. If you look up here, this is the name of the tents. These are all the rage overlanding stuff, and I thought it was a bunch of hype, to tell you the truth. But I ordered one. I took my tent down to the YouTubers thing in Yosemite, and my tent was ripping out. It was about 30 years old, about 25 years old. So I bought one of these. And let me just go through some of the pictures here for you. I have to say, I was totally impressed when I got this thing. And I thought right now it shows $349, and I will leave a link in Amazon because the Amazon price is about the same. They sell a T4, a T3, sell screen rooms, which are really nice. But I'll tell you, these things are really well built, and they have multiple tie-outs, so you can guy them out. And the best thing about this, I can set this up less than 2 minutes with the Rainfly probably. It's super easy. You can check them out online. There's a bunch of videos. I haven't done a video on this yet, but I will. But I was very impressed, and I know tents. And tell you the truth, at $349, it sounds expensive, but you get what you pay for. And this thing it's built. I bought the green. They have the green and the orange. I like the orange, but to me, it kind of stands out. And I like to kind of if I'm camping out in the forest, I kind of want to blend in a little bit. Let's see what else I can show you. So, here's one of their screened rooms, basically to keep the bugs away from you and stuff like that. I'll put a link to that also down there. I am an Amazon affiliate, and if you do buy from my links, it does help the channel, and it just shows you all the different things. This company, I tell you what, if you're thinking about buying one of these tents, you pretty much need to buy it. This is the T4 Plus. I bought a T4. In retrospect, I probably should have bought the T3 because most of the time it's just going to be me. Now, the T3 is plenty big enough for two people, maybe your dog or a young child. The T4 is more family. But this one, what's different about this one, it has the T4 tent in the back. So it takes a pretty good size area to set it up. But in the front, it's a screened room. It's a pretty cool design. And it costs more. I'll try to leave a link to that one if I can also. All right, so the next thing up would be travel trailers. Now, a travel trailer gives you the advantage of having a car to drive when you get there, as opposed to when you take a motorhome, you have to pull something to have transportation, or you drive your motorhome. So let's take a look at trailers and just see what they have to offer and the different types you can buy. Or rent. You can actually rent these also. Sometimes they'll place them out there for you. So let's check it out. So this is and I don't have any association with any of these trailers or anything. I'm just going to show you a few. So this is a pull trailer. I'd say this is about 26 to 30 feet, probably 28, something like that. And this is a pull trailer. And then you have something like this, which is a fifth wheel. Fifth wheel, you need a hitch inside your bed. These are known to probably be some of the best towing trailers. But you give up your bed or your truck pretty much, except for side height. You can put some stuff in there, but the hitch sometimes takes up a lot of room. And then you have, let's see what we have. You could have something, let's do something smaller. Okay, something like this. This is very, very similar to what my buddy Javi K6TNT had. It's just this is made by a different company. So you can get small trailers like that. People had little teardrops like this there. Here's a little pop-up that's a A-frame. It's hard-sided. These are real popular. Fiberglass trailers. I wish I had a better picture of this because let's check this one out. This is kind of the picture of Quartzfest. This is their trailer. It's one of these type trailers. And then you have your old school looking trailers. That one's not even old school, but you know, it looks old school. Okay, one of my favorites is truck campers. I've had at least 3 or 4 different truck campers. I've had motorhomes. I've had trailers, pretty much tents, you name it. I've had it. So I'm not an expert, but I have a lot of experience camping over the years. And one of the favorites is truck campers. So let's check those out and show you the different styles. And they come in various sizes. You have this one here. This one looks huge. I've had campers about this size before, maybe a little bit smaller, and it's a lot of wear and tear on your pickup. I tend to like the smaller campers, something like this one. This one looks really tall for some reason. This is a nice Northern Light. This is a company out of Canada, I think. This one's built kind of like that little round trailer, like the Quartzfest trailer. It's 2 pieces like a boat, top and a bottom. This is kind of a new thing, a minimalist. Hard to say for me earlier here in the morning. And what that one does is it's all hard-sided. It's kind of a new concept type of thing. And this is what I'm kind of interested in, like this Palomino here. This is a camper that this top part here pops up, and it has like vinyl sides. Let me see if I can find you. Here's another one. It's a different brand. I was trying to find one. Oh, and check this one. This is that Scout that we looked at. They have a pop-up tent. And that's something else that you could take down there. Along with tents, this gets you up off the ground. I was looking at them and then decided after my wife said, I'm not getting up and down in the middle of the night out of that and walking down a ladder. So that one was kind of out. Sorry there. Okay, this is kind of like, this is a flatbed version of, looks like a 4-wheel campers. And this is the pop-up part here, if you see my cursor. And pretty cool. Really lightweight in some brands. Now, some of them get a little heavier. Now, this one here is a shell, basically. This is made by 4-wheel campers also. It's a shell that goes on top of your truck bed sides, and then it has doors in the back. And it's just your bed inside, and this top part pops up. And on this brand, it pops up straight like the last one I showed you that had the hard sides like this, or the soft sides like that one. Okay, now let's talk about motorhomes. Motorhomes usually have their own generators, so that's something you might not have to get later on. But I actually carry a portable generator anyhow because it's more economical sometimes. We'll talk about that in the generator sections. So motorhomes, if you want something to drive when you get there, you need to pull what's called a dinghy. It's kind of what they call them. It's another car that you pull behind. Now, you would have to investigate on how to properly set that up to tow it, so we're not going to go in that to here. But I'm going to go in and show you some different types of motorhomes and what are popular, what are super expensive. But the one thing you will have to worry about when you buy a motorhome is you have an extra vehicle that you have to maintain also. So always keep that in the back of your mind. Now, when you go into a motorhome, now you're buying a chassis, a motor, and everything. So my wife loves the motorhome because she can walk around at times, when it's safe to do so. And she's made lunch for us and stuff like that mainly when we're on the freeway, not in the windies. But so this is this is about a 30-foot probably, I would say. And you can go from that. You can do something like this, which is a Class C. The first one was a Class A. Here's I think they call these Bs. They're on a smaller chassis. This is probably a European one. And if you got lots of money, you can buy something like this. That's way out of my price range. But here's a Class C. This is, I would say, if you're just getting into motorhomes, these are probably some of the easiest to drive. I drove fire engines for a living. And first time I drove one like this, which is what I ended up buying, something similar to this, it was intimidating because the roof is so much higher. The fire engine is like a regular truck, the cab height. This thing feels huge. Now, I saw a lot of people with diesel pushers, and I have a diesel pusher. It's a really small one. It's they don't even make it anymore. It's made by Winnebago. It's only 32 feet. And I say only because in diesels, they're usually 36 and up. But if you have a diesel pusher, and I saw a lot of people out there with them, and you go out into the dirt roads like that, the problem you have to look at when you get done, you want to go to a car wash or someplace and wash your radiator back from the back to the front because all that dirt goes through your radiator and eventually A lot of these have road tubes, which the road tube is the way they used to do diesels, where it just dropped the blow-by gases on the ground and that blew into your radiator. And what happens is it collects all the dust and eventually you have heating problems. Don't ask me how I know. All right, now let's talk about generators and solar. This is something I'm getting into now. I've had generators for years. We're going to talk about those, and then we're going to talk about solar and look at the different types of solar you can have for camping. Let's check it out. All right, let's talk about how you're going to power your trailers, campers, tents, or motorhomes. Most motorhomes will have an onboard generator, so this may not pertain so much to them, and some trailers might. Now, if you're going to be a good neighbor, but if it's all you can afford, this is fine. But don't buy one of these type of generators. They're really noisy. Now, this is what I prefer is, and this is a Honda brand. This is a brand that I own. Back in the day, I've had mine. Mine's a 2000. It's an older version, and I've had it for about 25 years. Never had a problem with this thing. I had friends that bought Yamahas at the time, and they are all using Hondas now. But that's just me. Okay, there's a lot of different brands out. Harbor Freight makes some that are actually pretty quiet, and that's the difference. So here's a DeWalt. Here's a Ryobi. I don't know what that one is. So there's all kinds of different generators. This is a Win. This is off. I think you get this off of Amazon. Do your homework and try to find one that's quiet. A 2000 is that 2200. The first one I showed you. This one here. This is a pretty good all around. It'll actually power some air conditionings, not all. But like for campers usually. If you want if you go 3000 or bigger, those will most likely do your air conditioning for sure. And you might want that. It does get about 70 degrees down there, but I'll show you a picture of the weather when I was there, okay? And it got down to 35 at night. So if you're thinking about a generator, just think about your neighbors and try to buy a quiet one. Something like this. This is a solar generator. Now let's get into solar and let's talk a little bit about this. Now solar is really, really big time down in Arizona. So or a lot of places. But something like this right here on top of your motorhome. And since Quartzfest is in the winter, the sun is pretty low in the sky, and you need to actually prop them up a little bit like this. They'll work flat, but not as well. So that's something you should always remember also. Now these are fixed mount ones here. Here's another picture of one up on top of the roof. And if you don't have the skills to do this, have it done by a qualified RV place, all right? Because you could create some problems. Like this guy put racks up there to put his on, okay? And then there's also these flat ones. The flat ones are kind of cool. Guys are gluing those down and taping them down. The only problem is when they get hot, they won't work quite as good. And if you stick with more of this style with the glass ones, they actually last longer, from what I understand. This is an interesting one. The guy put all of his. I don't know how that works because that thing has to roll up. So I don't know if he puts them up there when he gets there or what, which is kind of a good idea. It weights it down a little bit, but I have seen these things blow over the other side. So if you do put up your awnings, that's another thing. If you put your awnings up, make sure they're staked down really well. I did something a little different for mine. I'm going to put something like this on my trailer. I already have solar on my motorhome. I'm going to upgrade it a little bit though. They've gotten more efficient, and I can buy the same size and go from 100 to 180 watts. And that should be sufficient for my motorhome most of the time, because I do have a generator also. But let's look at portable. Now these are portable. Like this folds up in like a little suitcase. This is a Jackery, and that solar. These are kind of made to hook into those solar generators. Which a solar generator is just a battery that has a solar controller built into it. And that's made to just plug this thing right into it to bring the batteries back up to what they should be. And there's just a lot of different kinds of these. These are real popular here. These are real small ones. They fold up pretty small. I tell you the truth, dollar for dollar, these Dokios, this is my 80. I have 80. I wish I'd bought their 100 or 160 like this one, because I'd probably be done. But you get everything. And this will do lithium batteries, this controller here that comes with. And here's somebody, it looks like they kind of built their own solar generator. And that's what I'm doing, basically. And just look how happy the solar makes everybody. Just joking, guys. Okay, I hope this helps you out on if you ever decide to go to Quartzfest. It's a great thing to go do. I will put a link to Quartzfest in the description down below, so check that out. And it won't be updated for a while for next year, but But if you want to go, like I said before, I'm not an expert, but I have done a lot of camping. Done a lot of camping with my immediate family, my kids and wife, and with my parents. So I do know a lot about camping. Go ahead and maybe pick what you want to take to Quartzfest, be it a tent, camper, trailer, motorhome, whatever. Go there, have some fun, and meet a lot of great people. This is Chuck, KK6USY for Ham Radio Ventures. Catch you guys on the airwaves, hopefully. And 73 all, and everybody be safe.